Now, it's time to talk technology, digitality and all that with no less a person than the Professor of such matters in the Ulster University, who's been very good to this programme down the years. That's Professor Kevin Curran. Kevin, good to see you.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Kevin, I'm just mindful, and you know, away from here, away of your boyhood Uachtar art, away down in the West, had you a sense of that? Your people were country people. Was there a sense of the seasonal, a sense of the old? I'm assuming you made the Bridget's Crosses at least.
Yeah, we did do the British Crosses actually, in school. Yeah,
but had you a sense of the elders, you know, connecting in that old time way, or was it gone even by their time?
You know, but it must rub off. I mean, it's funny. When we came back from London, I lived with my grandparents. My grandfather didn't have a word of English when he married my granny.
Wow!
And that's only one generation ago. Well, 2 generations ago, he couldn't speak English. He came from Spittle, which is, you know,
That's incredible.
Because my mum would tell me, now it doesn't happen anymore, but every so often, my mum worked in Galway Regional Hospital for 40 years. Every so often, a woman would come in, maybe from the Aran Islands somewhere, without a word of English either, and they'd be quite terrified. So they get the Irish-speaking nurses.
They had to get the nurse to talk to her.
Yes. Yeah, but no, that wouldn't happen nowadays.
And could you, as the table turned, can you speak a word of Irish?
I used to be able to, but I mean, I forget most of it now. You got to practice any language.
You got to keep up, don't you?
You do, yeah.
Kevin, thanks for popping in today. I'm delighted you're going to deal with this, because in terms of another BBC switch off, technology changes. 2 weeks ago, I had 2 BBC Twos, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to miss the rugby on BBC Two Northern Ireland, which wasn't digital. And then I watched the rugby that night and I thought, there's a BBC Two has disappeared, right? So now I've only got one BBC Two, which is BBC Two digital. But they're all going digital. What is this switch off?
Yeah, the BBC are removing all the standard definition channels again. So the BBC 1, 2, 3 and 4 will all be HD again.
Which is good if your telly can cope.
Of course it is good, because especially you got a large screen, you can tell the difference in standard definition. Watching soccer, you can't really see the names on the players. You know, it really is frustrating. So you have to have HD, especially with large TVs.
Isn't it funny when you first get an HD, Attenborough comes on and you're going, that land's going to have my hand off. You know, it's technology anyway. Amazing, just in terms of how beautiful it absolutely is.
The worry is that there will be some people with older FreeSat or Freeview boxes again. So the difference with Freeview is usually through an aerial. FreeSat is through a satellite box again. So usually a better signal again, you know, if you have FreeSat. But again, some people might not have the HDMI port again, which is generally used for most of us. But they can buy an add-on for about 69 quid, which converts through the SCART socket and the RGB socket again.
And the cynic would say, fade out means, but sure, it's cynical, you know, not on the part of BBC necessarily, but TV makers and all the rest. They'll sell more tellies if your granny can't see the TV anymore. But what, will they just have to get an HD telly? If they don't have if they don't want to pay for this upgrade really, and they want to have perfect digital HD, they'll have to either get a new, or no, it's not so much. Well, if the TV supports HDMI, they just they're fine. In fact, they can check it by going to 799 on the Skybox, and it'll tell you good news. If they might not have Sky either.
But you have to. You can't have an old analog TV. People have to either through Freeview nowadays or have a FreeSat box to get HD. Not like before. Remember, we turned off the analog again.
I have 2 aerials. I don't know what I have.
Yeah.
What do you get up my roof, Kevin, and tell me what TV? I have no clue.
I say you have free. Well, it depends. I mean, your box is it a Sky box or is it a FreeSat box?
FreeSat.
Yeah, you got FreeSat then. Whereas I would have Freeview. I use all through my TVSL, through my Samsung or my Hisense.
Yeah. But the risk is when any big change like that is that some people get left at high water.
Exactly. But the BBC have resources for there as well, and even in Wales they've launched a scheme actually to help older people actually upgrade as well.
Okay, Kevin, a sensitive story today. Mindful of the time of day, but you're a father yourself, and it's a big story. It's an important story. Kids as young as 9 exposed to pornography. This is a new study for the Children's Commissioner for England. Now, this will matter to an awful lot of mums and dads in particular. Listen to this, Kevin.
It is, yeah. In fact, but the findings are again that people as young as 9 are being exposed to pornography online as well, and by the age of 13, 50% had been exposed to it. They found that Twitter was one of the sources that people use, but also the pornography sites themselves. And again, that is the problem again with the internet. We do not have any barriers to entry. There is no driving license for the internet.
But surely the big platforms, if they wanted to change that, could they?
No, they can't. the only way they could do it is probably link it through a credit card, make it a little bit more difficult, something that a student might not have, or a kid might not have. Again, of course, you can just free credit card generators online as such. It's a very difficult solution. It's a very difficult problem.
And I suppose all a 9-year-old has to say to get on Twitter, the platform that's mentioned in particular regard here, is say, yeah, I'm 14. And they will be
exactly,
Twittered.
yeah. You know, on the internet, you know, you don't know if you're speaking to a dog, as they say.
What do you do, Kevin? Just does it come down to old-fashioned parenting skills?
To a large degree, again, and even if you, but the problem is, again, of course, a lot of parents will put on the parental filter maybe on their router at home, but of course, then the kids upstairs with their phone. You know, and then they're going through their data service as well. So it really comes down to the garden, really, and maybe no devices in the bedroom at night time, and you know, just.
I mean, I would never. I'm not praying, but is it a difficult conversation as a dad, Kevin? Is it because like nobody in the country knows more than you, and I know your kids are particularly smart with regard to this stuff. Still, is it a difficult conversation?
I wouldn't say for me. We've been quite open. I would have been quite open with my kids talking about it, and not putting any hard and. Actually, there's a lot of freedom as well. But I have talked to my kids about it. In other words, that basically, you know, ultimately, it's, you can waste a lot of your life watching pornography.
Kevin, BT, they're doing this 5G thing. I meant to get 4G, but my phone always shows 3G. I honestly think most of us haven't a clue about the Gs at all, apart from boys like you. So, what's the story here with BT?
Yeah. Obviously, BT are rolling out, obviously trying to deliver 5G to a lot of the UK, of course, again. But the problem is, of course, as you can see, whenever streets are being dug up, it's a very expensive thing to do. Digging up streets and then putting it back again, and then, you know, and all the permits needed, and then but so therefore, if you can put something in the air, so what the BT are trialling here is these hydrogen fueled basically planes which hover again, you know, in the stratosphere again.
Like Flash Gordon, like the transport systems in Star Wars, you know, like mid-air things.
I know for about a week, and there's a company called SPL who are doing a stratospheric, again, airline company again. So in other words, what they can do is up to 15,000 square miles actually beaming from one of these aircraft, again, service up to 50,000 customers.
Wow.
Again.
Is that the way forward? There'll come a time when this is all wireless completely, isn't there? You just have to think about stuff and it'll come up on your computer.
Well, the way forward, we'll still use the infrastructure we have. An awful lot of fibre has been laid. Like, for instance, my new house now, I get fibre into my house again, which was unheard of years ago. So that will all be there. Nothing beats fibre optic cable. You know, it's the fastest.
Why is that? Why is that better than satellites?
Because of the round trip turn. In other words, the satellites are really taken off in the last few years. Elon Musk's Starlink, because it's in low orbit. In other words, the whole problem with the satellite that we have for terrestrial Sky, so we've had Sky for 30 years, right? And it's instant because it's one way. But if you try to communicate, what you have is you're going up to 22,000 miles above the Earth's core.
Gotcha.
And there's a time, nothing beats the speed of light. So the signal has to go up there, get
down again,
page, come down again. And what we have is a round trip time of half a millisecond, or, you know, 500 milliseconds, which is a lot. So therefore, nothing could ever get over that distance. But what we did was bring down the satellites to low orbit. And that's what Elon Musk has done with these 5,000 satellites, and much more. And so it's a shorter back and over.
I get
the
it.
problem with the low orbit satellites is they have to. The Earth moves so fast. The great thing about the Sky ones that we've had for years, they stay in position above the Earth at 22,000 miles, and they move with the Earth.
Yes.
They're called geosynchronous orbit.
They orbit.
But the low orbit ones actually move, so therefore the software has to work out which one where you are again. But
switching over.
But the future is in satellite, low orbit, you know, and Earth orbits actually. But the problem is, again, space is becoming very crowded.
I tell you what, man, I'd love to spend half an hour in your world having a grasp of all that stuff, Kevin, because the rest of us just go, it's not working, give it a thump with a hammer, you know. Kevin, thank you. Folks, treat to have a professor of cyber at hand to just take us through our slot today. Emma's not with us, but Professor Kevin Curran from the Ulster University most certainly is. I enjoyed that one today. Folks, join us. If you're past, call into Culture On tomorrow. We'll bring the whole programme, the whole team, Chef Bran, everybody.